How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be working on my F8 Snow Pro. So let's roll that intro and get into it. Alright guys, well, as you can see, we finally got a bit of snow. Not enough yet to go riding, but at least we got enough that I can bring the sled around to the garage and we can get it ready for the season. So let's fire this thing up, we'll bring it around to the garage, and then we're gonna get to work. Alright guys, so if you're new to the channel, my name's Matt, and I just want to remind you guys to please subscribe if you haven't already. We got lots of content about racing, and we work on Hondas and imports and stuff like that. So if that kind of stuff interests you, definitely consider subscribing. Today we are going to be working on my F8 Snow Pro, and we got a lot of preseason maintenance to do. So that's kind of what the plan is today, so let's get into it. So I picked this thing up a little over a month ago now, and the plan is to rip it around all winter and have some fun with it. The previous owner hasn't ridden this thing in about 2 years, so it's been in storage for a while. So on first startup, you probably saw there was quite a bit of smoke. So I'm hoping over time that wears off. If not, I'm gonna have to probably drain the gas and the oil, and then I'll put some fresh stuff in there. But we're gonna try and run it as it is for right now. Yeah, we're gonna do some other maintenance on it to get it ready. It has a diamond drive system with reverse, which means they recommend changing the oil once a year, just because moisture can build up in there, and apparently it's a very picky system. So we're gonna end up doing that. I gotta grease all the joints. I'm just gonna do a quick inspection while I'm under everything. Check the skis, make sure everything there is good, kind of check the belt. Bunch of other stuff we're gonna go over just to make sure this thing's gonna be ready for the season and it's not gonna leave me stranded anywhere. But in first looking at it, I think it's in really good shape. The previous owner, he kept it stored indoors all the time. Even in the winter time, he kept it indoors, except when he was riding. So it is in very good shape. This is 2008, and like it looks almost new, like apart from being a bit dusty from being in storage and stuff. It is in very good shape, so I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. So first thing that I'm going to do is remove the hood plastic as well as the two sides, and then that'll give us some pretty good access to the engine bay. I may take the center console off as well, so I can check the coolant level and all that stuff. So that's what I'm going to start with. All right, so removing the hood is pretty simple. Just got to pull up on these two tabs here. Up it comes, and then in here we've got two tabs. You just squeeze them together, and then it should pop out, which is a lot easier with two hands. And now for the sides, we got a tab up here, tab here, and one underneath. And this should just slide open, and then it unhooks at the front. And it's the same on the other side. All right, now removing the center console is pretty straightforward. I just got two Torx head bolts up top. Yeah, T30 Torx bit. Take those out, and then this whole piece should tilt forward and then lift off. Okay guys, so now with all the plastics off, we can get a really good look at everything up top and make sure that everything's looking good. So now we can kind of check our fluids. So we got the coolant reservoir here, and you can kind of check the level. And on this one, when it's cold, the fill level is actually right at the bottom of the neck here. And then we've got the oil tank here, which you can check the level on the side. And this is actually a really big tank compared to my old sled. But then just looking over everything else, just checking for any leaks and stuff like that up top. But I think everything is looking pretty good. Something I forgot to mention when you're taking the center console off is there is a wiring harness that you have to disconnect. So you got to quickly do that. And then just don't forget to reconnect it when you put the console back. And then coming over to the side here, I'm just gonna visually inspect everything. And then we can kind of check the brakes as well. So the rotor seems to be fairly smooth. There's no like deep pitting or scoring or anything. Still quite a bit of material left. And looking at the pads, they actually look pretty good too. And something I was doing before already was just to check if they were working. Obviously they worked because I stopped getting in here. But if you want to do a visual inspection, you can always squeeze the lever up there and then just check for movement and pressure down here, which this one is functioning fine. There's no binding or anything like that. Nothing seems to be seized, so I think we're in really good shape there. So the brakes are good. And I believe to fill the brake fluid is this cap up here. It says to use .3 or .4 brake fluid, but in looking through the hole here, I can tell that there is fluid in there and it's all working as it should. So I think I'm just gonna leave that sealed. Something else I wanna look at too is the steering shaft here, which actually looks a bit corroded. So I may wanna clean that up and I might apply some grease to that just to make sure that the steering is gonna work smoothly. And I have to adjust the air pressure in my shocks here. So I believe from the factory they're set at about 75 psi. And I'm gonna check all the joints up here for the suspension and steering just to make sure that there's no corrosion, make sure that they're all greased properly. So I'll probably end up applying some fresh grease to some of these just to make sure that they're gonna last all winter long. I already looked at the track pretty closely when I bought the sled just to make sure it was in good shape. But yeah, and looking at it, you can see there's a bit of wear here and there, but overall there's no major cracking or anything like that. You can see some of the lugs here have a bit of tears in them and stuff like that, but it's nothing major, not like the whole track is gonna shred apart on me. And then something else I gotta do back here yet is grease all the joints. So I believe there's 3 grease zerks under here that just need to be greased. And then the biggest thing I gotta do is change the diamond drive oil. So in order to do that, I'm gonna have to remove the secondary clutch. The belt has to come off, and then that'll give us access to the drain hole. A lot of guys recommend that you tip the sled on its side for this, just so that it saves on making a big mess. I don't really have anything to prop up the sled properly, so I'm gonna have to figure out something for that. Otherwise, it's all just gonna collect in the bottom there, and that's gonna make a big mess. So I'm gonna have to figure that out yet. All right, guys, so that was kind of a quick walkthrough of what I'm gonna do on the sled. So I'm gonna get to work on it. There's quite a bit of stuff I gotta do, and we'll see how far we get today. All right, guys, well, I got the secondary clutch off and the belt is kind of just sitting there. And now I have access to the diamond drive, so I'll be able to drain the oil. But if you had a look, it was dang dirty in there. So I think what I'm gonna do is spend some time cleaning up some of that grime, and just there's like dirt and leaves and stuff in there too. All right, guys, so I'm getting ready to drain my diamond drive oil here. So I don't really have any methods to tip the sled up on its side and have it propped up nicely and be serviceable. So this is kind of my only option right now. So I've jacked it up. I put a jack stand under there just in case the jack slips. So we should be safe there. So I don't have quite the angle that I want yet. Most guys have quite a better angle than this. And then they're able to do this without making such a big mess. But I think this will definitely minimize the mess. It's not all going to be pooling down here the same way. And then my idea is this. So I'm just going to use this transmission funnel, and I'm kind of just going to set it underneath the drain as best I can. Hopefully I can collect maybe half of it, I don't know, and then get it into my drain pan. So I'm going to try that and see if it works. All right, guys, well that kind of worked out okay. I would say I got about half of it in the drain pan, and the rest of it I had to wipe up with a rag. You can kind of see that it's still dripping here. But in looking at this, I don't know what the oil capacity is for this, but I expected there to be more. So I'm gonna have to do a bit more research and kind of find out. I thought maybe it just wasn't getting any air, so I took the filler plug out as well, and it ended up not making a difference. So I'm gonna do a bit of research and kind of find out if that's all the oil or kind of what the dealio is here. All right, guys, so we're back, and I did a bit of research, and it looks like this is supposed to take about 12 ounces of diamond drive oil. So there's definitely not 12 ounces in my drain pan, and I don't know, I soaked up quite a bit with a rag too, so it could very well be close to 12 ounces. You can still kind of see that it is dripping a bit, and I did notice that there was some moisture coming out of there as well. So I think what I'm going to do is just let it sit like this for a bit and try and get as much of that oil out of there as I can. So just maybe let it sit overnight, and then I'll come back to it tomorrow, and then hopefully a majority of the moisture and stuff is out of there.
The next day.
All right, guys, so it is the next day now. A bit more oil dripped out of here, so I've cleaned all that up now, and I think it's pretty well empty. I want to do a few more things, so I was going to inspect the carbides under the skis here, just to see if they're worn out or not. You can see there's some wear in the front here, but there's still some decent grooves on the sides. Well, actually the inside one is pretty worn out. So I'm thinking by next season I'm gonna want to replace those. And then something else I'm gonna do, since it's a lot easier when it's on its side like this, is just grease some of the fittings down here. So I know I have one here for sure. There's one, yeah, one right there. And I think there's a third one in here somewhere. I'm gonna have to do some more searching yet and find it. All right, guys, so now I'm ready to refill the diamond drive. So I put the drain plug back, got the filler plug out, and got everything nice and clean under here again. So if I do end up with any leaks or anything like that, it's gonna be easy to spot. So what I'm using today is AMSOIL synthetic chain case and gear oil. It is compatible with diamond drive, so I will be using this today. A lot of guys use this stuff in their diamond drives, and they don't really have any problems with it, so I figured I'd give it a try. And to get this stuff in the diamond drive, don't tell my wife, but I stole her turkey baster and modified it slightly, and I think this will work out okay for the job. So the end just kind of fits in the hole there, and if I dump the oil down here, it should work okay. It might be a little bit slow going because it's such a small hole to go through, but I'm gonna give this a try and see how it works.
One eternity later.
All right, guys, so I got the oil all filled. This actually ended up taking about 15 ounces. So one of these bottles, it's about 16 ounces, and there's only a little bit left in the bottom. So that's a little bit concerning considering how little actually came out of this when I drained it. But yeah, we're gonna see how this thing performs once I get it all put back together. So basically all I got to do now is put the secondary clutch back on. So I'm going to put a little bit of lube on here, probably just a bit of grease. I've inspected the belt already, and it's still brand new. The previous owner told me it was a brand new belt, and it definitely looks brand new, so that's good. So yeah, I'm going to get all this put back together, get the belt cover put back on. We'll slap all the plastics back, and then I'm pretty sure that is about it, and we're going to be ready to go riding. All right, guys, so I got everything put back together. I'm no expert, so it took a little bit of guessing to get some of this stuff together, but everything's looking good now. One more thing I want to do is set the air pressure in the shocks back to 75 psi. So I went to town and I picked up a air chuck with an air gauge on it, and it goes up to 140 psi. So that'll be more than sufficient for what I'm going to do. And that'll be a lot easier to set the pressure. So I'm going to do that right now, and then we should be good to go. Okay, so right now the gauge is showing it's about 40 psi. Okay, there we go, that's better. Okay, so that's about 80, so I'm just going to let it out slowly until it hits about 75, and then I'll make it even on the other side, right there. All right, and this side's about the same at 40 psi. So I'll just slowly add till, okay, hit 80 again. Let it off a little bit, and right there. Perfect. So we're even on both sides at 75 psi, and we'll see how it handles. If I need to make it softer or heavier, then I will. All right, guys, well, I got everything done on the Arctic Cat that I wanted to get done, and it is basically ready to ride. Like I said before, I'm no expert, so I might be missing some stuff that's recommended for pre-season maintenance, but this is kind of a basic once-over that I wanted to do on it, just to get to know the sled. But definitely, if I missed anything, definitely drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think, and then we can go from there. But I'm feeling pretty good about where it's at. My only problem now is we don't have any snow. So we were supposed to get a winter snowstorm last night, and looked out this morning, and yeah, it's windy, but we got a little bit of snow. At least the sled's ready to go for when we do get snow, but now we just got to play the waiting game. So if you like the video, guys, definitely give a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already. Like I said before, drop me a comment, let me know what you think, and we'll see you next time.